It's 6 p.m. on a Friday here in Korea. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Che. Let us begin with the headlines. Fueled by anger over Seoul and Washington's THAAD deployment decision, Chinese authorities are targeting South Korean stars and media content, canceling fan meetings and screenings. South Korea's top two political parties gear up to elect new leaders by narrowing their candidate lists for the important posts. Team Korea is off to a most promising start in Rio. The men's soccer squad asserts its dominance with an 8-0 annihilation of Team Fiji. South Korea's foreign ministry is keeping close tabs on China's negative media response stemming from anger over Seoul and Washington's THAAD deployment decision. Foreign Minister PyeongChang on Friday emphasized the importance of resolving any conflicts with Beijing through broad diplomatic channels. Beijing is opposed to the deployment of the American missile defense system, saying the move will hurt its strategic security interests in the region. China's People's Daily, the mouthpiece of the Communist Party, wrote an editorial on Wednesday saying that Seoul will be the first target if there is ever a conflict between Beijing and Washington. Minister Yoon added Seoul will clarify its position on THAAD to make Beijing understand why the system needs to be stationed on the peninsula. The Chinese government is blocking the production or broadcast of programs that involve Korean celebrities in an apparent sign it plans to take retaliatory action against Seoul's decision to deploy the THAAD missile defense system. Oh Geunhye has the details.
Korea's pop culture exports, which have until now enjoyed a major boom in China, could be facing their biggest threat in the country to date. The Wall Street Journal reported on Thursday that Chinese authorities are targeting Korean stars and content in an apparent protest against Seoul's decision to deploy the THAAD missile defense system to the peninsula. Although Seoul says the system is solely for its self-defense, Beijing is strongly opposed, saying it threatens its national security and interests. A fan meeting for Kim Woo-bin and Bae Su-ji scheduled to take place in Beijing on Saturday was canceled, while South Korean actor Lee Joon-gi is likely to be banned from the Chinese premiere of his latest film. The story says Chinese regulators may have delayed visa application approvals or pressured organizers to cancel, with one broadcaster saying the fan meeting was postponed because of, quote, forces beyond our control. China's state-run newspaper Hwancho is also carrying out a survey asking people whether Korean actor Park Bo-gum insulted the Great Wall of China in an advertisement, and almost 80% of respondents have said yes. China says Korea has only itself to blame. On Thursday, Chinese state-run English-language newspaper Global Times ran an opinion piece that said, quote, it's not China's fault if South Korean stars eventually become the scapegoat of the THAAD deployment. The piece also said that some local Chinese TV stations have received instructions from regulators to block programs involving South Korean stars. Already, several Kpop groups have had to cancel their performances in China, and Chinese broadcasters have dropped plans to film programs in South Korean locations like Busan and Jeju. Oh Jung-hee, Arirang News.
Defense officials from South Korea, the United States, and Japan agreed to enhance cooperation and increase information sharing on future missile launches by North Korea. The trio came to the understanding during video conference talks held Friday, led by Seoul's Deputy Director General for International Policy, Park Geunhye. The officials acknowledged North Korea's latest ballistic missile launch was a clear violation of UN resolutions and a threat to regional peace and stability. One of President Park Geunhye's customized programs designed to help people maintain balance between their work and family is the flextime system. According to our Song Ji-sun, President Park visited companies that are implementing that system to check its effectiveness.
President Park Geunhye on Friday visited a bank that was the first to adopt a flextime program among financial institutions that help employees find the most appropriate work schedules to maintain balance between work and family. The flextime system allows employees that are not required to work at designated desks, such as field sales and independent research, to work from a nearby smart work center or even work from home. Those having to commute long hours or even have to pick up and drop off children at certain hours are content with the new system, and participating companies are seeing a drop in quitting rates since adopting the program, as working moms choose to return to work after their maternity leaves.
I'm a mother of 2 children. One is 4 and the other 7 years old. It was really tough for me to return to work due to the long commuting hours, but working from here at the Smart Work Center has really improved things for me. The bank also strongly supports the system.
지금 시대에는 일가정 양립이 대세고 또 그 흐름을 따라가지 않으면 안 된다. 기업으로서도 그렇고 우리나라 전체로서도 그렇고 그래서 일가정 양립을 꼭 이루어야 되는데 그러기 위해서는 유연 근무제를 반드시 활용해야 된다고 생각을 합니다.
President Park said the newly developed technologies must contribute to improving the working environment of the people and called on the banking sector to continue with reforms that help them counter the rapid changes in society. 송지선, Arirang News.
Korea's 2 main rival parties edge closer to electing their next party leaders. The ruling Saenuri and the main opposition Minju Party of Korea should have their respective leaderships in place before the month is up. Kim Young-gil looks into how the race is shaping up.
The ruling Saenuri Party narrowed the list of contenders for its top leadership posts from 5 to 4 on Friday. 3 of the candidates, Lee Jung-hyun, Lee Ju-young, and Han Song-kyo, are with the pro-President Park Geunhye circle. The 4th candidate, Chu Ho-young, is outside of that group. All 4 of them vowed to reform the party and work to overcome the internal factional strife that left the party divided after its crushing defeat in the April general election. Earlier in the day, all of the candidates had given speeches at a stadium in Cheonan, South Chungcheongnam-do province. The campaign event, the 3rd of its kind, also featured remarks by the 11 members vying for the 6 vacant spots on the Supreme Council. The leadership election will take place as part of the party's national convention next Tuesday. On the other side of the aisle, the main opposition Minju Party of Korea held an in-house primary on Friday and whittled down the number of contenders for its leadership post from 4 to 3. 2 of the candidates, Choo Mi-hye and Kim Sang-gon, have close ties to former party leader Moon Jae-in, who represents the Nomuyeon faction, while Lee Jong-gol does not.
I, Choo Mi-hye, will make a stable, united party. We will overcome national divisions and open an era for the people.
I, Lee Jong-gol, will do my part to select a competitive candidate who can win in the upcoming presidential election.
The Minju Party will hold its national convention and select its new leader on August 27th. The minor opposition People's Party plans to maintain its interim leadership under Park Ji-won until the end of the year. Kim Young-gil, Arirang News.
Korea's new anti-graft law is going to take effect on its scheduled date in late September, also known as the Kim Young-nan Act, named after the person who drafted the law. It faced strong criticism and opposition, especially from the nation's agricultural and small and medium-sized business sectors. Regardless, the Ministry of Government Legislation held a meeting this afternoon with 6 government ministries related to the practice of the anti-graft law and concluded the Korean government cannot accept demands to postpone the enforcement of the law, which is scheduled to be effective starting September 28th. Regarding the requests from ministries, including Agriculture and Fisheries, to adjust the price limits on meals and gifts given to government officials, the Ministry of Government Legislation said the decision will be later made at the Office for Gov't Policy Coordination. Korea's minimum wage for 2017 has been set. It's $6,471 or $5.80 an hour, according to the Labor Ministry. The hourly rate is 7.3% higher than this year, meaning workers will earn about $46 a day or $1,200 a month if they work 8 hours daily. Since the Park administration took office in 2013, the minimum wage has been on a steady rise, but next year's figure slowed from the 8% hike for this year. The new wage is expected to apply to about 17% of all wage workers in Korea. That's about 3.4 million people. The redemption rate for the country's highest denominated bill is the lowest among all banknotes. The Bank of Korea says of the 11.2 trillion won, or about $10 billion worth of 50,000 won notes issued in the first half of the year, only $5.1 billion worth have found their way back to the central bank. That means the return ratio in the January to June period was 50.7%. Although that's higher than the 40% from the same period last year, it's still the lowest of all other bills. The rate was more than 110% for 10,000 won banknotes and about 94% for 5,000. Lower figure equates to less circulation in the financial system. The low return rate of the 50,000 won notes raises concerns that the money could be flowing into the underground economy. Even before the opening ceremony, we have some Olympic sporting action. Unlike women's soccer, the men's competition enjoyed greater fanfare and the players responded. Team Korea destroyed Fiji in their opening match en route to setting a new Korean Olympic record. Yoon-shin fills us in.
Save the samba dancers, supermodels, and parade of nations for Friday's grand opening ceremony. With 8 group games taking place, Thursday was all about men's football. In an extremely promising start, South Korea put 8 goals past Fiji in their first group match. The highlight of the match came in the second half when the Korean team scored 3 goals back-to-back in just less than 2 minutes. Also in Group C, Mexico, the London Olympics champion, played out a 2-2 draw with Germany earlier in the day. And against South Africa, the host nation Brazil, the 2012 Olympic runner-up, got off to a rather disappointing start with a goalless draw. And South Korea has 2 more group matches coming up. Their next game will be against Germany on Sunday local time, followed by a match with Mexico and the concluding group match next Wednesday. The group stage is set to last a week, with the top 2 teams from each group advancing to the quarterfinals, which begin on August 13. With the opening ceremony less than just 17 hours away, some 10,500 athletes from more than 200 nations are set to compete at this year's Olympics, which are being held in Latin America for the very first time. Yoon-shin, Arirang News.
Staying in the realm of sports and, of course, the Olympics, a third of Russia's athletes will be banned from competing at the Rio Games after a state-sponsored doping scandal that has gone right to the wire of the opening day. The International Olympic Committee says 118 of Russia's 389 athletes will be prevented from taking part. 271, or roughly 70% of the national team, have been cleared. Included in the list, though, of those who cannot compete in Rio are Moscow's guaranteed gold earners and title defenders, which is very painful for the team. The announcement comes on the eve of the opening ceremony of the Games. Korea will pay close attention to all the success and shortcomings in the Rio Games because come 2018, Korea's PyeongChang will also be playing Olympic host, although it's for the Winter Olympic Games. The head of the PyeongChang organizing committee says he will fully utilize everything he learns from Brazil. Shin Se-min reports from Rio.
While the focus of athletes, reporters, and fans are concentrated on Rio with the 2016 Olympics about to start, there are those looking a step ahead. Recognizing the focus will quickly switch to Korea's alpine town of PyeongChang after the curtain comes down on the Rio Games, the head of the local organizing committee for the 2018 Winter Games is positive everything will be in place on time.
First and foremost, I would like to assure you that our preparations are fully on track. I, together with my team, will work hard for success of the Games in 2018.
Speaking to reporters in Rio, Lee said the PyeongChang organizing team is focused on absorbing everything it takes to put on the best Olympics possible in 2018. Regarding fears of stadiums and other infrastructure becoming so-called white elephants after the Olympics are over, the chief of the PyeongChang organizing committee said they've learned from past examples and facilities will not fall into costly disrepair after the sporting event.
Gangwon province will be developed with the infrastructures, including high-speed railways and also expressways connecting from Incheon Airport to Gangneung, all the way to Gangneung. It takes about 90-some minutes, so it is the huge effect of the Olympic Games.
In the coming days and weeks, the PyeongChang organizing team will also meet with the organizers of the 2020 Tokyo Summer Games and the 2022 Beijing Winter Games. They plan to share their respective know-how to ensure Asia successfully pulls off the next 3 Olympics. With less than 2 years until the world shifts its focus to PyeongChang, the next host city of the Olympics, Korea's Olympic Organizing Committee is confident that the country's first ever Winter Olympics will be just as successful as any other. Shin Se-min, Arirang News, Rio de Janeiro.
These are the stories we're following at this hour. From all of us here at Arirang News, thank you for watching.